Yo, what's up, you guys? It's your boy Walterdoom, and I am back for another episode of Let's Talk About Horror, where we talk about any and everything related to the genre. And we are here for today for a new episode. Yes, it has been a while, you guys, and I gotta say, it's been quite a journey coming back. But yeah, I mean, we got a lot to talk about, you guys. It is Halloween season. Yes, it is. We are in the month of Halloween. It is October. This is the time to get spooky. The time to turn up. I mean, I don't know what you guys have planned or anything like that. I mean, there should be plenty of Halloween parties, events, things you guys can do. I mean, I know I talked about them a couple of times. Actually, I did talk about them a couple of times. I just didn't record them. Oh, man. But yeah, I'm going to talk about some latest news for you guys that I found very interesting during the week. I'm also going to talk about my 31 days of horror that I am going to be watching. You know, my 31 days of horror movies. If you guys don't have a list or anything, you guys can follow my list that I have. We also got you guys' meme of the week and must watch movie of the week. And if time is not of too much of the well, I might as well get the door. Oh man. But if time is not too much of a problem, I will tell you guys about my September movies that I found were good and movies that I found were bad. But now all I need you guys to do is sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, get a blanket, cue the applause for me, and we will be right back for the show. All right. So we are back, you guys. All right, first things first. Let's give a moment of silence for Sid Haig, because he did pass away a couple of weeks ago. As the time I'm recording this is October 6th, a Sunday. So it's Sunday morning for me right now. I got up bright and early to do this. See, I'm already getting tongue-tied. But yeah, I made a video about this a couple of weeks ago. Well, past couple of weeks. And each time I have made a podcast, I don't know, I just been dissatisfied with it, or I just didn't edit it. And by the time I'm thinking about editing and bringing it out, time has passed and news has changed. So it becomes irrelevant to me. I mean, it's not that I get tired or anything, but it's like, you know, having a day job too kind of like burns a person out. I mean, I know a lot of you guys know about having day jobs and what have you. But let's take a moment of silence for Sid Haig for his passing. I did talk about how he was in the hospital. He was rushed to the hospital by his wife. And we don't know what happened to Sid personally, because that was never really revealed by her. But it was revealed that the actor was in the ICU for like a couple of days for whatever health issues that he was dealing with. According to Rob Zombie, when they were trying to film 3 from Hell, Sid was actually going through a lot of health issues, which kind of made it difficult for him to really be a part of the film, which is why we don't really see much of the film, because he was dealing with the health issues, whatever health issues that he was dealing with, that really led to his possible death. I mean, we don't know if the issues that he was having was related to why he couldn't do the film also. But right now, let's just take a moment of silence. So yeah, I mean, 3 from Hell is out, you guys. And what I'm hearing from a lot of reviews, even though I'm trying not to read the reviews, but I'm hearing a lot of negatives actually. Just based on like some of the headlines of the movie, well, of the articles, I should say, not the movie, but the articles. And I mean, I guess because maybe there's not much Sid in this film, and Rob Zombie had to really rewrite a lot of things for this film to make it work. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like it right now. Now, the movie comes out October 14th on DVD. I know they're doing one more showing this coming Monday. As I said, today is October 6th for me. So, whenever this episode gets released, it should be October 7th is when they're actually showing the last showing of this film. Well, the last viewing, I should say, of this film. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if I am going to go to it or not. Like I said, I have a day job. And sometimes I'm just like, I want to go to this, but I got other things to do. But definitely, if you guys want to check that out, I mean, wherever you guys could find tickets. I mean, I know it's showing in a select number of theaters. Definitely check it out if you guys have the chance. But let's go ahead and move into other news that is very important. Tony Todd, Candyman. Okay, that's 5 times, so he should be appearing sometime later on today. But anyway, Tony Todd returns as Candyman. At least that's what the news are rumoring right now. I haven't heard anything really or seen anything stating that this is a for sure thing, but right now it might be 90% for sure and confirmed that Tony Todd will be returning as Candyman. And to me, I mean, that's a good thing, because I kind of wonder myself like how this new Candyman movie was going to work, especially because Tony Todd is the only one we really could relate to being Candyman. It's like there's certain movie characters and icons you just cannot replace with different people. Like, say, like Freddy Krueger. You can't replace Robert Englund with someone else. Honestly, it's difficult. It's really difficult to really picture someone else playing that character just because of the persona that the actor gives the character. And just to hear someone else is kind of playing that role, and they try and do like sometimes what the actor does, well, the past actor of that character, what they do, and it sometimes fall flat. You know, I mean, it's easy to replace someone like a Jason or Mike Myers because those guys have no persona at all. I mean, they just stand there, walk, and that's it, and kill people. When it comes to someone like Candyman, Freddy Krueger, Chucky, it's kind of difficult to kind of replace those characters with someone else and expect to get the same results that you were getting before. But after hearing this about Tony Todd returning to Candyman, it just made me wonder, like, what about the guy that's supposed to replace him? I mean, because I could have sworn from the first time hearing about the news, Yahya Abdul-Mateen was supposed to be the one actually being Candyman. Now, according to 3C Movie Review, that you guys could watch on YouTube, you know, he puts off some pretty cool content, but no sponsoring him, because I am not sponsoring. He came up with this theory that possibly we might be getting 2 Candymen. This is more theorized than actual news. I mean, this is nothing concrete or made by anybody, but he believes that there's going to be 2 Candymen based on the reports about how at first we heard my team was supposed to be Candyman, but now we're hearing Tony Todd is going to come back as Candyman. Now, this really makes me wonder, like, what is going to happen as far as his role in this movie. Yeah, that sounds like a good theory that there is possibly going to be 2 Candymen. But at the same time, I really can't see it. I really can't see how that would actually work and how that would actually come together. I don't know. I just think like storylines like that will come off kind of messy. Like with the whole Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I really felt like that story was really kind of messy also with Jesse becoming like Freddy Krueger, and it just didn't make any sense how like Freddy was just jumping from the nightmare world to the real life world, and it was definitely one weird film. Not to say that films have to make sense all the time, but it has to be believable. You get me? Like when in, I want to say Dream Master, when Freddy was brought back to life by a dog pissing on his grave, but a grave with piss fire. He comes back out of nowhere. Now, to me, that's a weird way of bringing back a character also. And it just doesn't seem, I don't know, it just doesn't seem fitting for like bringing the character back. So yeah, as much as I would like to think of this film to work with like 2 Candymen, I don't know. I just don't really see how this could possibly work. Also, a couple of things that came into mind while thinking about this film. How much CGI are we going to be using in this film? Because with the old Candyman films, they didn't really have to benefit too much from CGI. From what I was watching, which I watched Candyman for the first time, you guys, so turn the applause on that one. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna use the effects for this movie, which I feel like it doesn't really rely too much on like CGI effects or anything like that too much, comparing the old movies to possibly this movie. But like most films nowadays, now that they got the technology to do something crazy and creative like that, is it possible that we're going to get too much CGI or too much crazy CGI effects in this film? And I know they're also going to probably use like the de-aging effects for Tony Todd to kind of make him look like young Tony Todd from back in the days. I was kind of worried about him being Candyman again because, the guy is older and he does show a bit of age in not only face but weight also. But it was funny because after seeing him in Death House, he looked a little bit chubby. But recently I was on his Instagram account. The guy is fit. The guy is like almost Candyman fit. That's crazy. How old is Tony Todd? What, like 60, 50 years old, some shit like that? I don't know because I'm not looking it up right now. But how is this possible? How is this possible? Now it got me feeling a little bit optimistic about what we're possibly going to see. Definitely he looks Candyman ready, weight-wise. And in the face, he hasn't really changed much in the face. Yeah, he's a little bit older and he got a few grays here and there. But yeah, he's definitely Candyman ready. Throw a wig on his head. Use the de-aging effects that they did with the kids on It and how they did Will Smith in Gemini Man. And oh my God. Yeah, you got Tony Todd looking like Tony Todd from back in the days, in the 90s, when he first started Candyman. So yeah, Candyman should be coming out next year sometime. I forget what date that they said, or did they even give it a date? I know they said next year, but we'll see. So that should be coming out soon. In other news, the Joker movie is out. Yeah. And I mean, I know that's not really a horror movie, but even though I know it's not a horror movie, people are leaving it in the middle of the movie just because of how dark it is. Is it really that dark? Is it really that sinister? I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm planning on seeing it soon, but yeah, like people are actually leaving this film. And what I'm also hearing too are mixed reviews about this film. Again, I am not reading any reviews because I feel like it is going to spoil the movie for me, and not only that, kind of steer me into a direction of what I feel like, well, what I should feel like while watching this film. And I don't want no outside influences telling me like, oh, well, this movie is terrible or this part is terrible, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. I'd rather just come to that conclusion on my own. I mean, I know I should take it as opinions, like how I told you guys to take some things as just opinions. Or actually, did I mention that on one of those unreleased episodes? Well, either way, when it comes to opinions, just take opinions as what they are. Opinions. And even though I should take these reviews as what they are, it's just the critics' opinions. At the same time, I don't want to feel like I'm being influenced. So, with that being said, I mean, I am not going to read any reviews. I'm just going to watch the movie, enjoy it, and give my thoughts about how I feel about it. It should definitely be a good film. I mean, I'm hearing positive things about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, how his role is really demonic and dark, and just how it does bring about the talks about mental illness and everything like that. The plot and story is still unknown to me. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have seen it already. To me, the plot is unknown. I don't know what this movie is about. If you guys know what it's about, don't spoil it for me. Otherwise, you get blocked. No, I'm kidding. But, yeah. Really don't know what the plot or story is about. I'm not going to theorize or anything like that. But there are lots of theories that have been out there, possibly hinting that this is a world where what the Joker is. I'm trying to remember what one of the theories were. This is supposed to be more like the Killing Joker, where we see him having a bad day and he's unsuccessful, this, that, and the other, and he becomes the Joker after having go through a crime that ends up having him go through like this accident, and he becomes the Joker after the accident and all that. But I'm hearing that also it's not that this is like a totally new story, not really based on anything from the comics or anything like that, but more fictionalized and made from the writer's ideas of what the Joker could be. So yeah, I mean, if any of you guys seen the Joker, I hope you guys like it. I mean, if you guys have seen it, comment whether you liked it or not. But just don't tell me anything about the film. All right, moving on to our last news of the day. The countdown to Doctor Sleep is on. Yes. Doctor Sleep is coming out November 8th. We are now officially in countdown mode for this movie. In September, it was supposed to be a countdown to Bliss, which is actually out now via video on demand and streams and all that. I mean, you could get it on Amazon Prime if you're willing to pay. I'm not. Oh, man. But now we're on countdown mode for Dr. Sleep. And this should be something everybody should be waiting for if you are a true horror fan. If you've seen The Shining, or if you read the book The Shining. I have not read the book. I have not read Dr. Sleep. I have Dr. Sleep, which is the bad part. I have Dr. Sleep, but I haven't read Dr. Sleep. Okay, let me actually say let me reword that a bit. I've read a little bit of Dr. Sleep, and it's literally maybe the first couple of chapters, and I have not finished the book. Terrible, right? Yeah, I mean, it's just trying to find the time to read. It's really that bad, I should say. But I'm trying to plan on reading it this month, right before the movie comes out, because I don't want to watch this movie and I think everything that's happening in the movie is kind of like what happens in the book. When we all know things that happen in the book are not necessarily what usually gets added into the movies. Everything has changed a lot and everything. So yeah, I mean, can't wait till that comes out. A couple of things that I've wondered, how much Stanley Kubrick influences are we going to see in this film? And we all know Stanley Kubrick is not living anymore, but how much of his influence are we going to see in this film? How much Kubrick-esque shots are we going to see that just ends up falling flat? I know they kind of, based on the trailers and what have you, that they reshoot a lot of scenes, or a couple of scenes that come from The Shining, and they reimagine some of those scenes. So it should be interesting to see those little tidbits or little clips and what have you in the movie. Another thing, if you have read Dr. Sleep, like I mentioned, I only read a couple of chapters. How do they justify letting Dick Hallorann live in Dr. Sleep? Because in the Sleeping movie, not the Sleeping, the hell am I saying? In the Shining movie, they actually killed Dick in the movie. So I'm wondering, how do they justify bringing him back in this film if he's going to be in this film? Which, by my recollection of reading the actors who are participating in this film, he's actually in the movie. So how are they going to justify that? How are they going to work that into the film? Because that was something that Stanley Kubrick and his team added. This was never in Stephen King's book, which is something I know, that scene where Dick Hallorann gets killed by Jack, it doesn't happen in the book. That was just film edition, or film writing, or whatever they wanted to call that shit. But I'm interested in seeing what they're gonna do with Dr. Sleep, how they're gonna add Dick Hallorann back into this whole fold of craziness that's going to happen. I don't know, man. I'm still waking up in the morning, you guys, so you gotta forgive me. But anyway, that is all of our news for today. There's nothing else that I really need to include. When we come back, we're going to talk about my 31 days of horror movie watching that I'm doing. So, like you shouldn't say in Scream, I'll be right back.
What's your favorite scary movie?
And we are back, you guys. So, Blade Disgusting came out with the article of their 31 days of Halloween horror list. And they have a rubric that they're following. Mondays is going to be horror comedies. Tuesdays is supernatural spooks. Wednesdays is Devil's Night. Thursday is Witch's Night Out. Friday is Franchise Friday. Saturday is Family Fun. So basically like any family movie you guys could find. Sunday is my favorite right now, the Wild Card. The Wild Card, which could be any kind of movie. I believe, like, I'm taking Wild Card as any movie that you want to watch, basically. No matter what the genre of the film is. So, at first I was thinking about following their watch list, which in my opinion is kind of like a interesting watch list, but at the same time, I feel like I'm doing too much digging. I mean, yes, they do have Insidious, which was the first movie from their list, which I was like, okay, I could find that film on Netflix. No problem. But then the movies that followed after that, it started becoming a witch hunt. No pun intended. But some of the movies that they were suggesting was Sinister, which I found out I had to download a different app and in order for me to watch it. Then it was another film that I'd never heard of called Witching and Bitching, and that was another film that took a lot of like searching for also. So I would say by like day 2, I actually gave up on their horror list. I mean, it was too much actually, because I actually created a horror list of my own. Now, using kind of like the same rubric that they were using, you know, as far as like the days and what type of horror I should be watching, I came up with a list of my own. Now, I am going to post that for you guys. I'm not sure if I'm going to have this as the handwritten version or a graphic. But if I made a graphic for you guys, you could thank me later. Here are some of the movies from my 31 days of horror. So for the first week, actually, I should just go over what I've watched for the first week. So for the first week, for my first day was Hell House. Now, the first of the month was Tuesday, which was the Supernatural Spook. So my Supernatural Spook was Hell House. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys probably don't know, but I really do like the Hell House movies. It was my first time watching it this past month of September. Hopefully after I'm done talking about the 31 days of horror, I could talk about the movies that I watched this past September and the stuff that I like and what I didn't like and why. But yeah, Hell House had to be on the list first just because of how good it was. I really do like that trilogy. I would have to say it's probably one of the most consistent trilogies that stay with the concept of what they're bringing and actually bring a logical conclusion to what they were doing throughout all 3 of those films. Not once did they deter to anything else besides being a found footage movie, even though most of the scenes with them being found footage seem kind of ridiculous at times of why are they filming at this moment. But at the same time, it was still a good film nonetheless. Day 2 was The Devil's Night. And for my Devil's Night, had to have been the most classic one, Rosemary's Baby. I have watched this film before and I really thought it was good, but it definitely was worth the watch again because of how crazy the whole thing comes about. I mean, you're a person that ends up being taken advantage of by everybody, and that's crazy. When I was watching this film, I realized Rosemary was actually a pawn in this scheme since the beginning. I mean, it sounds crazy. I mean, I'm pretty sure they didn't plan on trying to use her as a surrogate for the devil, but yeah, she was actually chosen from the get-go. And a lot of the scenes I really did see differently. I mean, first time I watched it, I really didn't think Guy was involved with like the Cassavetes, but he was actually involved with them. He was involved with everything. He knew everything. It's so crazy. But yeah, definitely that was worth watching again. My Thursday night for Witches Night Out, Hereditary. And yeah, I know there's like a lot of mixed reviews for Hereditary. I am for one a fan of the whole Ari Aster films. I really do think that they're really good. They really do bring something new to like certain genres of horror. You know, and especially bring like this whole artful new ground of suspense into the film. I just had to make this movie part of my list. Now, it was probably like my second time watching this film. And a lot of things about watching this film, it is definitely complex in every way possible. But it's also very disturbing in some of the things that we see as far as like, you know, the beheading of like certain characters. Seeing disturbing imagery of like witchcraft and everything that just happens in this film. Certain like violence. Oh man. It was definitely a film just crazy in every way possible, which I had to put on my list. Day 4. Now here's something new. And this was one of the films that was new to me. Was Candyman, which I have never seen before. But my God, Virginia Madsen just looked real hot in that film. But that's beside the point. This film was definitely worthwhile waiting for. I mean, I waited for this movie for how long? Oh my goodness. And to finally be able to watch it, I was definitely enjoying every minute of it. Now, this kind of brings back the whole talk about the new Candyman film that's coming out. Now, as you guys probably know, I did watch Candyman 2, Farewell to Flesh. And I gotta say that that movie in every way possible had nothing to do with the first film. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys that probably watched the first Candyman probably seen the second one and the third one. I haven't seen the third one. And just probably thought like how irrelevant those films were to the first film. Because in the first film, everything is taking place in Chicago. But then all of a sudden, everything gets moved to New Orleans. Makes no sense at all. But the thing that does kind of come into more of a, I guess, conceptual sense of like why that film was made was literally seeing like how Candyman became Candyman, and just to see like the brutal abuse that was ensued upon him and how he actually started becoming who he was and why he was doing the things that he was doing. Now, that's probably like the best part of the whole film itself. And for the fact that he chases down a girl who is white. By the way, I mean, yeah, black man chasing a white girl. Oh my God. How typical, right? or how King Kongish, as the racist people would say. But yeah, by the way, I am not endorsing the whole calling black people chasing white women King Kong effect. I am actually being satirical about it. So please don't get offended because I am black myself. So yeah. Not to mention that it kind of made me think about Birth of a Nation now. I don't know why. It just really got me thinking of Birth of a Nation, where like they took like all those white people and dressed them up as black people, made them look all predatory and what have you. That's a fucked up film, by the way. I mean, I'm glad that we are now at the point of, well, at least some people are, that we could recognize films of what they were, which was sheer ignorance and just stereotypical, and that all they promoted was negative propaganda about a certain race and what have you. But moving forward, before I got on that little side note, yeah, he was chasing this girl who reminded him of his past lover, who he got in trouble of actually fornicating and impregnating. So, yeah, I mean, that was Candyman 2. I mean, I haven't seen the third one. I don't know what the third one is about. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know why there's a third film in the first place, because I feel like the first two actually really told the story of what should be told about Candyman. The third one, I think, was just like the movie companies getting greedy with what they wanted. But besides that, I had a point for a minute. Oh, well, coming back to the Candyman that's coming out in 2020, that one is supposed to be a spiritual sequel, a direct sequel to the first film. Now, to me, that makes a little bit more sense, disregard the second and third film, which kind of makes me excited to see what kind of story are they making with this film. I know that they're now going to turn Cabrini Green into a gentrified area, which is something that's happening a lot in a lot of urban areas. I mean, it's happening in my area because I live in an urban area, and it's happening just like all around California, man. Well, mainly LA, I should say. I don't know any other parts of California. Well, I heard Oakland is kind of gentrified also right now, but I mean, if you're from Oakland, I mean, you guys know better than I would. But yeah, in the new Candyman, I mean, it's supposed to be more gentrified area, so I'm taking that this film is going to talk more about gentrification, like how the first film was talking about the black experience and how if you're black and you commit a crime, you're 3 times more likely to get in trouble for that shit than anything else. I mean, and I kind of like how they flipped it a bit. I mean, instead of being a black person committing all these crimes, they used a white woman to do these crimes. And we were seeing how, like, in her experience, she was seeing through Candyman's eyes on how black people were being treated, because he was orchestrating all of this. So, yeah, I mean, that film really was like, nah, I should say. No other words to describe it, but it was just very elegant on how they really took the experience of black people and flipped it in a way that it was just like, wow, that's some fucked up shit. Oh, man. But moving on to my next film that I watched, which was my family night film. So my family night film was Coraline. And I know probably some people are like, Coraline? Why that film? Well, one, because I really did like the film. It did have like a bit of a Tim Burton-esque quality to it, but I'm pretty sure it's not Tim Burton because this one was by Focus Pictures, I believe. And I don't think Tim Burton is associated with Focus Pictures at all. I mean, Tim Burton is more Disney than anything. But yeah, I really did like the film. I really did like the concept about like a little girl who has a family that really is trying to do everything they want to do to kind of like give her the life that they want. But the little girl wants nothing more than just to be with her family and spend time together, or even just acknowledge and listen to her. But instead, she ends up with this family. Well, not this family, but she ends up running away to this alternate family. Same family as hers, same mom, same dad, but instead they got buttons in their eyes. And just everything that's being drawn out to her is basically a world of like everything she wants, making everything greener on the other side. But it's like the old saying goes, the grass is never always greener on the other side. As soon as she finds out that there is an insidious plot to kind of get her to stay there so she could eat her. Oh man. But yeah, I really did like Coraline. I really did like the film when I saw it. It's not my first time watching the film. I watched this film like a long time ago and I really enjoyed it then. And I really do like it now that I'm like really grasping the concept of what this movie was about. So yeah, I really did like that film. Now, for my wild card night, which again, it is Sunday while I am recording this, it is Terrifier. I gotta bring Art the Clown in this, and you guys know how much I really do like Art the Clown. I am thinking about actually being a black Art the Clown for Halloween. Yeah. I know I got probably some of the racists out there losing their mind right now, like, Art the Clown can't be black. Oh my God. But yeah, you guys, I am actually thinking about being a black version of Art the Clown with the Terrifier clothes and everything. But, I'm not going to be some bald white dude. I'm going to actually be some dreadlock waving, foul mouth, hip hop listening, ghetto clown, crumping all over the streets of LA and shit like that. But yeah, I am definitely watching Terrifier. I do love Miss Jenna Cannell. That is like my WCW for this week, I should say. It might change by next week, but yeah, Terrifier is definitely one of my favorite films I love to watch. I can't wait to watch that tonight because I am definitely watching these movies at a more later time. I am not watching any of these during the daytime because who watches horror movies during the daytime? That makes no sense at all. It takes away from the mystique and the point of trying to be kind of scared, right? I hope I'm not by myself on this one. But anyway, that was my first week of horror movies. I know I didn't include Monday. Monday is going to be Scary Movie, the first one with the Wayans brothers. That's a classic itself. But let me jump onto like what are some highlight movies that are going to be in my 31 days of horror. Now, some highlights that I want to give you guys as far as like maybe movies that you should watch out. And like I said, we're going to have a graphic on the screen, whether it's a handwritten graphic of the movies I'm watching or an actual graphic that I put together to kind of make it more readable for you guys because not everybody can read someone's handwriting. But some movies that I think that are highlights that I have watched before. Before I Wake, that's a good movie. Night of the Living Dead, I can't wait to watch that on the 18th, which is part of, I believe, the wild card night or the franchise night. I can't remember what day the 18th lands on. Veronica, I can't wait to watch that for the supernatural spooks. I really did like that movie when I watched it for the first time. Well, actually not the first time, but you guys heard this story before if you guys consistently listen to me, but I had to watch it over and over again. Maybe by like the second or third time, I really did like the film because I was paying attention more to the story than trying to be spooked. Of course, on the franchise night, we got Child's Play. That's definitely a highlight. Witches Night will be Suspiria, the new Suspiria, by the way. That I can't wait to watch. That is definitely going to be a night where I just really have to be awake. Oh my God, because yeah, it is definitely easy for me to fall asleep if I get too comfortable. And it's nighttime also. But yeah, I am definitely going to check that out. During the week of Halloween, we got a lot of classics actually being shown, as well as like I don't want to say it's a classic, but it's more of like a newer film that relates to Halloween. But we got Carrie on the 29th, All Hallows Eve on the 30th. And of course, I mean, that seems appropriate, right? To have All Hallows Eve, first Art the Clown movie play on the 30th. And of course, on the 31st, yeah, we're going cheesy with this, but we're going to actually watch the actual first Halloween on Shudder. So that should be fun to watch. And yeah, I mean, that's how everything is going to be laid out for the movies I have watched before. Those are some of my highlights. Now, here are some highlights for movies that I am excited to watch for the first time. I am actually really excited to probably watch, I want to say, The Orphanage. I heard a lot of good things about The Orphanage. I am watching that on the 23rd. I don't know what day that lands on, but I should really be excited to watch that one. As I mentioned before, I have watched Candyman this past week, and I was very excited when the 4th came up because I could not wait to watch that film. And I was like, yes, I gotta watch this film. This film is definitely happening for me. So yeah, I mean, I was very excited to watch Candyman. A couple of other movies that are kind of like, I'm excited to watch, but kind of not that really. It's definitely Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I want to see what that movie is about. Goosebumps. I have never watched any of the Goosebumps film. I used to watch maybe Goosebumps when I was a kid, but I feel like I was watching something else also that was kind of Goosebumps related, but kind of not. The Babysitter. Now, I heard there's going to be a Babysitter 2, and I was trying to watch the Babysitter early, just so I could talk about the news a bit, but instead I ended up cutting that one out. But I'm going to be watching the Babysitter on the 20th. And lastly, Amityville Horror. Now, I said this was probably like more on the end, but I haven't really decided which Amityville Horror I'm going to watch at the moment. Could be the new one, could be the old one, or should I say, it could be the more contemporary version of it, which I believe was 2015 when it was released, versus I believe the first one was released, in the 80s or the 70s? No, it was the 80s, I believe. So yeah, I don't know which one I am going to watch because I have not watched either. I mean, I might just fuck around and just watch both of them if I have the energy. But right now, those are basically my 31 days of horror. I am actually surprised that I am still managing to kind of keep up at the moment. I'm doing good for the first week. That's good. But I will give you guys an update on my second week. Now, for this first week, it has been kind of like an easy one. Now, for this first week, I have been doing good so far because I haven't been falling asleep that much. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but sometimes I end up falling asleep during the movie and then I have to rewatch a film later on in the day, whether it's like early in the morning or later on the next day at night or what have you. But this first week, I mean, besides the first day, which was supposed to be Insidious and Hell House, I've been doing good so far. And I think mainly because I'm sticking to only my list and my list only. Like I said, if you guys don't have a list and you guys want to stick to my list, you guys could follow along with that. No pressure. You guys could actually make your own list. Actually, if you guys have a 31 days of horror that you would like to share with me, please share it in the comments section. And let's try and compare lists and what have you. So the second week of watching 31 days of horror, or should I say having the 31 days of horror, that is coming up. We'll see what the second week brings along to me. Saturday, I'm planning on going to the I Like Scary Movies experience, so I don't know what that Saturday is going to entail for me. So I'll probably end up having to watch whatever scary movie that I was planning to watch, either early or later on in the day, or probably do 2 movies in one day. Who knows? Even though technically watching 2 movies in one day, well, I mean, I guess if I watch it on a Friday and wait till 12 in the morning Saturday, technically that would count as a Saturday movie. I don't know. But either way, we'll see about that, guys. But going by the time, I know I talked about this too much. Looking at the time and how long I've been recording, I will possibly be skipping my September movies for the month. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to skip it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run through it real quick, and then we're going to have the outro, and that's pretty much it for the show. So I'll take a break, and I'll be right back.
Wendy, darling, light of my life, I'm not going to hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. I'm going to bash them right the fuck in.
Alright guys, we are back now, and just quick, I know we're doing the outro a little bit different, but just to go over quick, my September movies that were good was Beelzebub, They Look Like People, Pieces, Tigers Are Not Afraid, Hell House, all 3 of them, Torso, and Mutilator. Those are the best movies I've watched during the month. Bad movies that I watched was The Final Terror, Chicken Party, and Saint Agatha. Alright, so those are my movies for September that I've watched. That was the list of the good ones and the bad ones. Just to go over real quickly, I wish I could go over more about this, but I am not trying to go over an hour. For our meme of the week, you guys, as we always have, is a Michael Jackson one. So we have a caption of him in the Michael Jackson Thriller video, and the caption reads, I wonder if Michael Jackson looks like he did in the Thriller video yet. Dig him up. We need answers. And for the must-watch movie of the week, we have They Look Like People, which is part of my best movies for September. Now, I didn't really like watching this movie at first, but what it deals with is the challenges of mental illness and how it affects the people around you. That is definitely what this movie is about, and I didn't really like it at first, like I mentioned before, but after watching it again and actually understanding what this movie is about, it really is something that you guys should really check out. So that's why I made this my must-watch movie of the week. If you guys have Amazon Prime, you could definitely check that one out. But other than that, I am signing out. This is Walterdoom saying peace out. Oh my god, I am really botching this ending, huh? But this is another week of Let's Talk About Horror with your boy Walterdoom signing out. This is America. Don't let them catch you slipping now. You guys can follow me on Instagram, name Walterdoom. Twitter is Walterdoom1, and I am out. Peace.